2.0. We'd like to just thank you for joining us, Truth Seekers. We're about to go live with Trump. But meanwhile, before he begin the next press conference, we're going to listen to his earlier conference when he took multiple questions from reporters. So anyway, we're waiting. As we wait for him, we're going to go right to it because this was an early conference.
We're with them all the way. I mean, if you take a look at the numbers, we're with them. And they have very big things to announce today. I don't know if you've taken the vote or you're going to take the vote, but I've been asking them to go up to 5% for a number of years, and they're going up to 5%. That's a big, from 2%. And a lot of people didn't even pay the 2%. So I think that's going to be very big news. NATO is going to become very strong with us. And I appreciate doing it. Perhaps you want to talk?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me first, before I go to the spending, I just want to recognize your decisive action on Iran.
Thank you.
You are a man of strength.
Wow.
You're also a man of peace.
That's
And
NATO.
the fact that you are now also successful in getting this ceasefire done between Israel and Iran, I really want to commend you for that.
Thank you.
Wow. That's amazing that the world, that's NATO, they're complimenting Trump for, the actions he had taken with Iran. That's
Then
amazing.
on spending, it's absolutely true. I want to state here, without President Trump, this would not have happened. In 3 stages. When you became president in 2016, 2017, you forced Europeans and Canadians to pay more. At this moment, the result of that phase is 1 trillion extra aggregate defense spending by the Canadians and the Europeans. Then came phase 2, when you became president in January last year. Phase 2 is that all the countries not yet on 2% have now committed to the 2%. This is the old goal from Wales in 2014. 7 were not on 2%, some were saying somewhere in the 2030s. Now this year, all of them, including Canada, including Italy, including Belgium, they have all now committed to the 2%. And now comes the big splash. Today, we will decide to go to 5%. We have to keep ourselves safe for our adversaries, but also because it is fair to equalize with the United States. With this 5%, the Europeans and the Canadians will equalize their defense spending with the United States. So this is not about American taxpayers paying more. This is about Europeans, Canadians paying more. And again, this would not happen. I'm really saying this here. And some people might criticize me, but then when I speak with them, they all say, yes, you're right. This would not have happened if you would not have been elected in 2016 and re-elected last year and back into office in January. So I want to thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much. It's a great victory for everybody, I think. And we will be equalized very shortly, and that's the way it has to be. It's going to be a lot of money, too, a lot of defense.
Trillions extra.
Yeah, we have a great relationship, and we've had a great relationship from the beginning. Highly respected man, and yeah, we appreciate you being here too, everybody. We really do. We have a tremendous group of people on my left and a tremendous group of people on my right. They might be even better than my people. I know. Let's have a fight. Let's figure it out. Anyway, but we appreciate it, and we've had a tremendous market on it. And we've really worked on this subject for a long time. When Biden was here, it just died like everything else died. And now it's, you're going to take, I guess, a vote today, right?
Absolutely. Today we will decide unanimously to do this. That's my absolute conviction.
So we can't talk about it until the vote's taken because sometimes, strange things happen to it, but I think you're going to do very well. I was very happy about it. Go ahead, yes.
President, how is the Iran-Israel ceasefire going for you?
I think very good. Israel came back yesterday. I was so proud of them because they came back. They went out because they felt there was a violation. And technically they were right, but it just wouldn't have worked out very well.
You see that house?
This is
Someone
amazing.
just sold it in just a few
I'm
days.
so happy
Never
about
even
this guy.
I went to another journey because it was a little bit of a violation. And I said, you got to get it back. And they came back, and it was a great thing. And it's going very well.
So President, what is your response to the Prime Minister saying she still wants to enrich community?
I love Katie. She's so great, this one. Any questions she asks, I'll answer. Well, maybe I better not say it. What was your question?
What is your response to the Iranian Foreign Minister continuing to say Iran will enrich uranium and pursue nuclear weapons?
Well, I don't know if they've said that, but I'll tell you, the last thing they want to do is enrich anything right now. They want to recover. And we won't let that happen. Number one, militarily we won't. I think we'll end up having somewhat of a relationship with Iran. I see it. Look, I've had a relationship over the last 4 days. They agreed to the ceasefire. And it was a very equal agreement. They both said, that's enough. They both said it. But no, they won't do that. The last thing they want to do, Katie, is enrich. They're not looking to, they're not, can you imagine after all of that, they're going to say, oh, let's go do a bomb. You know, there could be a day in the future where, and then somebody else taking our place will be saying, don't do it. And maybe they won't do it as well, I don't know. But they're not going to have a bomb and they're not going to enrich. And we believe all of the stuff is down there. We don't think they had nearly the time, because to get that out is a very difficult thing. It's not like moving a package or taking this carpet up and moving it. It's very difficult. It's very dangerous to do. We believe it's all down there. We had a tremendous victory, a tremendous hit, and because of that, I don't think they would have been down there, because they knew we were coming. When they knew we're coming, they're not going to be down in that 30 stories underground. So. No, I think it was just a tremendous victory for everybody, including Iran. Look, they've got a country, and they've got oil, and they're very smart people, and they can come back. Israel got hit very hard, especially the last couple of days. Israel was hit really hard. Those ballistic missiles, boy, they took out a lot of buildings. And they've been great. Bibi Netanyahu should be very proud of himself. And they've really been great. But they're not going to be building bombs for a long time.
Mr. President, what's your reaction to the intelligence reports saying that the Iranian nuclear sites were only partially
Yeah, well, they said it was actually, the report said it could have been they don't know. I mean, they did a report. I could have Pete talk to it because his department did the report. They really don't know. I think Israel's going to be telling us very soon, because Bibi is going to have people.
Honestly, I think we're in a...
Trump is the GOAT, and I'm proud that he is our president.
Situation. We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration. When you take a look at the ground above, don't forget, the flame is all underground. But everything above, if you look at the before and the after picture, everything above is burned black. The trees, everything. There's one building, but that's a building that sunk substantially into the granite, so that, the fire goes right over it. I believe it was total obliteration. I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything out because we acted fast. If it would have taken 2 weeks maybe, but it's very hard to remove that kind of material. Very hard and very dangerous for them to remove it. Plus, they knew we were coming. And if they know we're coming, they're not going to be down there. There aren't too many people that are going to be down there. Pete, you have something to say about that?
Well, Mr. President, when you talk to the people who built the bombs, understand what those bombs can do, and deliver those bombs, they landed precisely where they were supposed to. So it was a flawless mission.
Flawless.
Right down where we knew they needed to enter. And given the 30,000 pounds of explosives and capability of those munitions, it was devastation underneath Fordo. And the amount of munitions, 6 per location, any assessment that tells you it was something otherwise is speculating with other motives. And we know that because when you actually look at the report, by the way, it was a top secret report, it was preliminary, it was low confidence. All right, so this isn't, you make assessments based on what you know. They
And
don't
it said it could be very devastating, very serious.
moderate to severe, and we believe far more likely severe and obliterated. So this is a political motive here. Of course, we're doing a leak investigation with the FBI right now because this information is for internal purposes, battle damage assessments, and CNN and others are trying to spin it to make the president look bad when this was an overwhelming success.
We had a tremendous success, and this is the New York Times. I call it the failing New York Times. It's going to hell. And CNN, which, as you know, very few people are watching. And you would think they'd do the opposite. You would think they'd want to say, this was an unbelievable success.
Yeah.
And the thing that hurts me is it's really demeaning to the pilots and the people that put that whole thing together, with the generals.
Anti-American.
That was a perfect operation. And when you look at the holes, and this was done from 52,000 feet, there was no moon, there was no light, and those 3 holes were right together. And also, and nobody talks about this, we shot 30 Tomahawks from submarines, in particular one submarine, but that was 400 miles away. And every one of those tomahawks hit within a foot of where they were supposed to hit. Took out a lot of buildings that Israel wasn't able to get. We took them out with tomahawks. We don't even talk about that. This was a devastating attack, and it knocked them for a loop. You know, if it didn't, they wouldn't have settled. If they had won, if we didn't take it out, they wouldn't have settled. Somebody mentioned that to me last night. If that thing wasn't devastated, they would have never settled. Mark, do you have something
Yeah,
to say?
no, first of all this stuff about the intelligence, this is what a leaker is telling you the intelligence says. That's the game these people play. They read it, and then they go out and characterize it the way they want to characterize, and they're leakers. This is the game they play. So that's number one. Number two, here's a fact. The conversion facility, which you can't do a nuclear weapon with that conversion facility, we can't even find where it is, where it used to be on the map. You can't even find where it used to be because the whole thing is just blackened out. It's gone.
Wiped out.
It's wiped out. Then we dropped 12 of the strongest bombs on the planet, right down the hole in 2 places. Everything underneath that mountain is in bad shape. And I refer you to the statement of the IAEA, Mr. Grossi. You know what he said? He said there was Iran, the way it looked the day before the attack, and what their nuclear program
Please
looks like
like,
now.
share, and
2 very
subscribe.
different things. They are way behind where they were just 7 days ago. Now, anything in the world can be rebuilt, but now we know where it is. And if they try to rebuild it, we'll have options there as well. But all this leaker stuff, these leakers are professional stabbers. That's what they are. They go out and they read this stuff, and then they tell you what it says against the law, but they characterize it for you in a way that's absolutely false. There's no way Iran comes to the table if somehow nothing had happened. This was complete and total obliteration. They're in bad shape. They are way behind today compared to where they were just 7 days ago because of what the president did.
Marco, can I just alert you to one other aspect? So the great thing is you took out the nuclear capability of Iran. This was crucial. You did it in a way which is extremely impressive, but the signal sends to the rest of the world that this president, when it comes to it, yes, he is a man of peace, but if necessary, he is willing to use strength. The enormous strength of the American military. So I think that signal to the rest of the world, this is far beyond Iran, is extremely
Secretary
important. So
General
that we also
Ruth.
point us to that aspect of what happens.
They went down, Iran went down to the site afterwards. They said it's so devastated, and they settled when they saw what we did to it. And frankly, if we didn't do that, they would have had a lot of ammunition to keep going. They would have settled. Somebody brought that up, and 2 Iranians went down to see it, and they called back and they said, this place is gone. So it's just fake news by CNN, which has got no ratings. It's a failed network. Anybody here from CNN, by the way? Because, you know, it's really a disgraceful network. MSNBC, I think, is actually worse. But they're all pretty bad. But yours is good, Katie, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and it's like to what Ozzy said. I agree with that. It's like people rather for us to be in war because you hate Trump so much. You rather for Iran to still have the nuclear capabilities, and for us to be about to. Iran doesn't have the same mind as America does. They're gonna use that to bomb different places, America, Israel, and it's like people, it's just like people need to really stop hating Trump, just look at things from a logical perspective. But we're about to put it back on now. Trump's about to start speaking at Nato, which we're excited to see. But yeah, Trump is definitely the best president of all time. I mean, people can't take that away from him. He's definitely the best. Happy that my first vote for president was for Trump. When he ran last time, I was too young to vote. But this time I was old enough to vote, and I voted for President Donald J. Trump. But yeah, you know, it's because this is also because of the mainstream media. The mainstream media has really caused a lot of people to just really hate Trump no matter what he does. It's like Trump, he could help people, he could save the environment, and people would be angry at him if he was like a superhero because he didn't use a reusable cape. It's like people, no matter what Trump does, they're gonna find a way to hate on it. They're gonna find a way to nitpick it, And yeah, it's just really crazy to see, especially when we had Biden in office with Kamala. You're literally destroying this country. People have died because of their actions that they took, and people still root for them and hate on Trump. It's just crazy.
Anti-American.
Yeah, anti-American. That's why Trump. I'm happy he's having the 250th America First rally. He's having July the 3rd that we're going to be streaming. Can't wait to see.
Well, you're calling it America First, but that's what it is, America First.
What is he calling it?
I don't know.
Or yeah, America First or whatever the rally is. I know it has America in the title, but we're excited to see. But we're putting it back on now.
Operation. And when you look at the holes, and this was done from 52,000 feet, there was no moon, there was no light, and those 3 holes are right together. And also, and nobody talks about this, we shot 30 Tomahawks from submarines, in particular one submarine, but that was 400 miles away. Mm-hmm. And every one of those Tomahawks hit within a foot of where they were supposed to hit, took out a lot of buildings that Israel wasn't able to get. We took them out with Tomahawks. We don't even talk about that. This was a devastating attack, and it knocked them for a loop. And you know, if it didn't, they wouldn't have settled. If they had won, if we didn't take it out, they wouldn't have settled. Somebody mentioned that to me last night. If that thing wasn't devastated, they would have never settled. Marco, do you have something?
Yeah, no, first of all this stuff about the intelligence, this is what a leaker is telling you the intelligence says. That's the game these people play. They read it, and then they go out and characterize it the way they want it characterized, and they're leakers. This is the game they play. So that's number one. Number two, here's a fact. The conversion facility, which you can't do a nuclear weapon without a conversion facility. We can't even find where it is, where it used to be on the map. You can't even find where it used to be because the whole thing is just blackened out. It's gone.
It's wiped out.
It's wiped out. Then we dropped 12 of the strongest bombs on the planet right down the hole in 2 places. Everything underneath that mountain is in bad shape. And I refer you to the statement of the IAEA, Mr. Grossi. You know what he said? He said there was Iran, the way it looked the day before the attack, and what their nuclear program looks like now. 2 very different things. They are way behind where they were just 7 days ago. Now, anything in the world can be rebuilt, but now we know where it is. And if they try to rebuild it, we'll have options there as well. But all this leaker stuff, these leakers are professional stabbers. That's what they are. They go out and they read this stuff, and then they tell you what it says against the law, but they characterize it for you in a way that's absolutely false. There's no way Iran comes to the table if somehow nothing had happened. This was complete and total obliteration. They're in bad shape. They are way behind today compared to where they were just 7 days ago because of what the president did.
Marco, can I just alert you to one other aspect? So the great thing is you took out the nuclear capability of Iran.
Okay, so you can watch that in its entirety. We aired that entire part of it earlier in the broadcast. You can also check out that entire thing as we await this press conference there at NATO as it's 9:01 Eastern Time, 6 o'clock out there on the West Coast. Thanks so much for joining us on RSBN Live. We are seeing that on behalf of the Israel...
Yeah, we're still waiting for Trump to come on. He's been like live all morning, and he's coming back on again, and he's going to do a press conference with NATO. So this has been an ongoing, I don't know what the time difference is in the Netherlands, but that's where currently our president of the United States, that's currently where he is at right now.
They were right, but it just wouldn't have worked out very well. And they brought the planes back. They had gone on to another journey because it was a little bit of a violation. And I said, you got to get them back. And they came back, and it was a great thing. And it's going very well.
Mr. President, what is your response to the Prime Minister saying she still wants to do the shooting?
Hello, Katie. She's so complete this one. Any questions she asks, I'll answer. Well, maybe I better not say it. What was your question?
What is your response to the Iranian foreign minister continuing to say Iran will enrich uranium and pursue nuclear weapons?
Well, I don't know if they've said that, but I'll tell you, the last thing they want to do is enrich anything right now. They want to recover. And we won't let that happen. Number one, militarily we won't. I think we'll end up having somewhat of a relationship with Iran. I see it. Look, I've had a relationship over the last 4 days. They agreed to the ceasefire. And it was a very equal agreement. They both said, that's enough. They both said it. But no, they won't do that. The last thing they want to do, Katie, is enrich. They're not looking to, can you imagine after all that, they're going to say, oh, let's go and do a bomb. You know, there could be a day in the future, and then somebody else taking our place will be saying, don't do it. And maybe they won't do it as well, I don't know, but they're not going to have a bomb and they're not going to enrich. And we believe all of the stuff is down there. We don't think they had nearly the time, because to get that out is a very difficult thing. It's not like moving a package or taking this carpet up and moving it. It's very difficult. It's very dangerous to do. We believe it's all down there. We had a tremendous victory, a tremendous hit, and because of that, I don't think they would have been down there, because they knew we were coming. When they knew we're coming, they're not going to be down in that 30 stories underground. So no, I think it was just a tremendous victory for everybody, including Iran. Look, they've got a country, and they've got oil, and they're very smart people, and they can come back. Israel got hit very hard, especially the last couple of days. Israel was hit really hard. Those ballistic missiles, boy, they took out a lot of buildings. And they've been great. Bibi Netanyahu should be very proud of himself. And they've really been great. But they're not going to be building bombs for a long time.
Mr. President, what's your reaction to the intelligence reports saying that the Iranian nuclear sites were only partially
Yeah, well, they said it was actually the report said it could have been they don't know. I mean, they did a report. I could have Pete talk to it because his department did the report. They really don't know. I think Israel's going to be telling us very soon because Bibi is going to have people involved in that whole situation. We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration. When you take a look at the ground above, don't forget the flame is all underground. But everything above, if you look at the before and the after picture, everything above is burned black. The trees, everything. There's one building, but that's a building that sunk substantially into the granite, so that the fire goes right over. I believe it was total obliteration. I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything out because we acted fast. If it would have taken 2 weeks, maybe, but it's very hard to remove that kind of material. Very hard and very dangerous for them to remove it. Plus, they knew we were coming, and if they know we're coming, they're not going to be down there. There aren't too many people that are going to be down there. Pete, do you have something to say about that?
Well, Mr. President, when you talk to the people who built the bombs, understand what those bombs can do, and deliver those bombs, they landed precisely where they were supposed to, so it's a flawless mission.
Flawless.
Right down where we knew they needed to enter, and given the 30,000 pounds of explosives and capability of those munitions, it was devastation underneath Fort Hill. And the amount of munitions, 6 per location, any assessment that tells you it was something otherwise is speculating with other motives. And we know that because when you actually look at the report, by the way, it was a top secret report, it was preliminary, it was low confidence. All right, so this isn't, you make assessments based on what you know. They don't.
I said it could be very devastating, very
moderate to severe, and we believe far more likely severe and obliterated. So this is a political motive here. Of course, we're doing a leak investigation with the FBI right now because this information is for internal purposes, battle damage assessments, and CNN and others are trying to spin it to make the president look bad when this was an overwhelming success.
We had a tremendous success, and this is the New York Times. I call it the failing New York Times. It's going to hell. And CNN, which, as you know, very few people are watching. And you would think they'd do the opposite. You would think they'd want to say, this was an unbelievable success. And the thing that hurts me is it's really demeaning to the pilots and the people that put that whole thing together, the generals. That was a perfect operation. And when you look at the holes, and this was done from 52,000 feet, there was no moon, there was no light, and those 3 holes are right together. And also, and nobody talks about this, we shot 30 Tomahawks from submarines, in particular one submarine, but that was 400 miles away. Mm-hmm. And every one of those Tomahawks hit within a foot of where they were supposed to hit, took out a lot of buildings that Israel wasn't able to get. We took them out with Tomahawks. We don't even talk about that. This was a devastating attack, and it knocked them for a loop. And if it didn't, they wouldn't have settled. If they had won, if we didn't take it out, they wouldn't have settled. Somebody mentioned that to me last night. If that thing wasn't devastated, they would have never settled. Marco, do you have something to say?
No, first of all this stuff about the intelligence, this is what a leaker is telling you the intelligence says. That's the game these people play. They read it, and then they go out and characterize it the way they want to characterize, and they're leakers. This is the game they play. So that's number one. Number two, here's a fact. The conversion facility, which you can't do a nuclear weapon without a conversion facility. We can't even find where it is, where it used to be on the map. You can't even find where it used to be because the whole thing is just blackened out. It's gone.
It's wiped out.
It's wiped out. Then we dropped 12 of the strongest bombs on the planet right down the hole in 2 places. Everything underneath that mountain is in bad shape. And I refer you to the statement of the IAEA, Mr. Grossi. You know what he said? He said there was Iran, the way it looked the day before the attack, and what their nuclear program looks like now. 2 very different things. They are way behind where they were just 7 days ago. Now, anything in the world can be rebuilt, but now we know where it is. And if they try to rebuild it, we'll have options there as well. But all this leaker stuff, these leakers are professional stabbers. That's what they are. They go out and they read this stuff, and then they tell you what it says against the law, but they characterize it for you in a way that's absolutely false. There's no way Iran comes to the table somehow nothing had happened. This was complete and total obliteration. They're in bad shape. They are way behind today compared to where they were just 7 days ago because of what the president did.
Marco, can I just alert you to one other aspect? So the great thing is you took out the nuclear capability of Iran. This was crucial. You did it in a way which is extremely impressive. But the signal sends to the rest of the world that this president, when it comes to it, yes, he is a man of peace, but if necessary, he is willing to use strength, the enormous strength of the American military. So I think that signal to the rest of the world, this is far beyond Iran, is extremely important. So let me also point us to that aspect of what happens.
They went down, Iran went down to the site afterwards. They said it's so devastated, and they settled when they saw what we did to it. And frankly, if we didn't do that, they would have had a lot of ammunition to keep going. They wouldn't have settled. Somebody brought that up, and 2 Iranians went down to see it, and they called back, and they said, this place is gone. So it's just fake news by CNN, which has got no ratings. It's a failed network. Anybody here from CNN, by the way? Because you're a really disgraceful network. MSNBC, I think, is actually worse. But they're all pretty bad. But yours is good, Katie, I'll tell you. You know what Marco reminded me? He did such a nice job there. It was 9 years ago I had to debate this guy. It was not easy. I think he even got better. When you were into your little thing, I said, this is when I had to debate this guy. You think it's not easy?
How long do you think that the Iranian nuclear program has been put back by these strikes? Years or 20 years?
I think basically decades, because I don't think they'll ever do it again. I just don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to take their oil, they're going to have some missiles, and they'll have some defense. I think they've had it. I mean, they just went through hell. I think they've had it. The last thing they want to do is enrich. They've been trying to do it. By the way, it's hard to enrich. And, you know, when you look at a site like that, very, very hard to build. Very, very hard. Very expensive. They spent trillions of dollars trying to do this thing, and they didn't come up with it. And we're actually getting along with them very well right now. But had we not succeeded with that hit ended the war. That hit ended the war. I don't want to use an example of Hiroshima. I don't want to use an example of Nagasaki. But that was essentially the same thing. That ended that war. This ended that with the war. If we didn't take that out, they'd be fighting right now.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
If the Iranians do rebuild, would the United States...
If they rebuild?
Would the United States try to get...
I'm not going to have to worry about that. It's gone for years. It's very tough to rebuild because the whole thing is collapsed. In other words, inside, it's all collapsed. Nobody can get in to see it because it's collapsed. You can't go in to see a room that has, 10 million tons of rock in it. And the tunnels are totally collapsed.
If they rebuild?
Well, they've already looked at the tunnels. This was an unbelievable hit by genius pilots and genius people in the military, and they're not being given credit for it because we have scum that's in this group, and not all of you are. You have some great reporters, but you have scum. CNN is scum. MSDNC is scum. The New York Times is scum. They're bad people. They're sick. And what they've done is they're trying to make this unbelievable victory into something less. Now, even they admit that it was hit very hard, okay? But it wasn't hit hard. It was hit brutally, and it knocked it out. The original word that I use, I guess it got us in trouble because it's a strong word. It was obliteration. And you'll see that. And it's going to come out. Israel is doing a report on it now, I understand. and I was told that they said it was total obliteration. You know, they have guys that go in there after the hit, and they said it was total obliteration. And you know, I don't want it for me, I want it for the pilots, I want it for the military, they did such a good job. If you were in the Situation Room with me, with the generals and all of the people that did such a good job, and then they get demeaned by these idiots at CNN who can't get ratings, the place is dying, nobody wants to even waste their time going on their shows. So they form with the New York Times, who's dying also. Without Trump, you wouldn't have a New York Times.
And then just changing gears to your meeting with Zelensky later today, can you give us any preview of what the two of you might be discussing?
No, we'll discuss the obvious. We'll discuss his difficulties. He's got a little difficulty. Zelensky, he's a nice guy. I mean, I'm going to meet him today. I don't know. I assume we're going to be discussing Ukraine.
Yes.
I mean, it seems like they're both like
Can you restart talks there or anything that you might do?
Well, we're going to see. I mean, I've spoken to Putin a lot, and he actually was very nice. He volunteered help on, as you know, on Iran. I said, no, I don't need help on Iran. I need help on Russia. Okay. I said, do me a favor. Help us on Russia, not on Iran. But he was very nice. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk. I think progress is being made. I think great progress is being made on Gaza. I think because of this attack that we made, I think we're going to have some very good news. I was talking to Steve Witkoff, who, by the way, is terrific, and who knows more about this subject than anybody, the subject of what we were just talking about. He was on last night with Jesse and with Laura and with Sean. And boy, Susie, he has a great take on it. He just explains it so easily. He's really very knowledgeable. But he did tell me that Gaza is very close.
One follow-up on Iran. Both you and Secretary Rubio and Excess mentioned the lead. But can you clarify, is the intelligence correct or is the intelligence wrong?
Well, the intelligence was very inconclusive. The intelligence says, we don't know. It could have been very severe. That's what the intelligence says. So I guess that's correct. But I think we can take the we don't know. It was very severe. It was obliteration. And you'd think that a media outlet would say, isn't that a great thing? I mean, more importantly for the pilots, for the military, you take their guts out. You take their absolute guts out. They had a tremendous attack. It was a complete obliteration. The other team, the other group, Iran, said, let's stop this. And you know what? Israel said it too. Very smart. They fought like hell, and then they said, let's stop. And they're going to build themselves. And I really see it as sticking. I mean, we may do papers on it, Marco. Maybe we're going to do papers. I don't even know if you need them. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes, then it's easy to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while you have to use a certain word.
I think we have to join others.
Yes, we're going to join some other group. Yes, thank you. Katie, one.
One last question. Do you believe
I don't
this
think she's
is
so good at throwing.
Thank you, Mr. President.
She used to be very difficult. Go ahead.
Do you believe that this strike on the Iranian nuclear program will lead to the release of the hostages in Gaza?
I think that it helped a little bit. It showed a lot of power. Yeah, I think it helped. But separately, even before this, we were very close to making a deal in Gaza. I think this helped, yes. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Go.
Okay, Trump is amazing, and one thing that you can get out of this press conference is that they have so much respect, and this is NATO. They have so much respect for President of the United States and what he has done, and how they said that shows strength. And it's amazing that you still have people that's in the United States. It almost appears that they're anti-American, and that's troubling to me for us to behave. But I want to just let all of the people right now, let them know that that we're America first, and we support our president. Like, as Americans, like, I don't think that Kamala Harris could have handled the pressure that Trump is that he's dealing with outside the country and inside the country. She would not have had the capabilities to deal with Gaza, Ukraine, Iran, and opening up the borders, allowing cartel. We have Iranians here. They said there's 1,500 of them here. So America really has a threat within, and President Trump is the one that is going to be able to handle it. I do not believe that what they have caused, that Biden administration, what they have caused and the harm they have caused to this country, is it on? Yeah. That it would had that administration would have been able to handle it. And the other thing, our moderators, we enjoy y'all and we do select people, but we don't want you banning people from the channel because it hurts the algorithm. We want people to have conversation in this live stream. And when it gets to the point we only seeing your messages, because we usually have like over 5,000 whatever messages, then we're knowing that you're getting rid of too many people. The only people that we want you to ban, because we want them to have freedom of speech and everyone to this platform for people to be able to talk, is to express themselves. But if they're being threatening the channel or whatever, report them. Because we want the platform to grow, and it's not going to grow, and YouTube is not going to send people to the channel if we're banning everyone and we're getting rid of everyone, because you're going to have people that, this is the only way they can express themselves. But anyway, we thank you guys for doing a great job that you've been doing, but we want people to come to the channel, because we have other moderators, but they are helping us, but they ban so many people that then YouTube will stop sending the people to our channel, and that's not our objective. Our objective is to have the channel grow and have a platform that Americans or people can come on and everybody can communicate. Read what he said. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, said, I want to remind everyone to keep the chat respectful.
Yeah.
Good morning, Cindy and Eli.
Good morning to you too. Yeah, because our moderators are great. And I know it's a lot of work because we have people saying all kinds of things, but you can't be on YouTube unless you can stand 10 toes down. We know that the insults, the hate, or whatever is going to come, but we know who we are in Christ. We are perfectly and wonderfully made, and our confidence is up here. So we don't have that problem, because this is how people hide behind the internet. We understand all of that. We're not worrying about them, but we want people to be able to communicate. But if they're totally out of order and they're threatening and all that kind of stuff, then they have to go. Those are the ones. But if they just saying they normal, insults and all that one another, that's going to happen when you're online, because people have bad days and this is how they express themselves. But anyway, just letting you know, because we want you to, because we saw the other day, it was like all moderators. It should never be all moderators. We just see your responses, and we don't see the people. That means too many people. Yeah, that means too many people are being banned from the channel. So anyway, Trump is live right now. We're going to go to him. This is live.
Couldn't have been nicer. And it's a beautiful country, really a beautiful country. Coming in, I saw the most beautiful trees. In fact, I want to bring some back with me. I want to also thank, I had breakfast this morning with the King and Queen, and they're incredible people. I said, you're central casting, beautiful people, great people, big, beautiful heart. And I enjoyed that. And also, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who's been terrific. He's been a friend of mine. He used to be right here running this wonderful country. Now he's the NATO Secretary General, is doing a fantastic job. And the Prime Minister, we appreciate everything you've done. And as you know, last weekend the United States successfully carried out a massive precision strike on Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities, and it was very, very successful. It was called obliteration. No other military on earth could have done it, and now this incredible exercise of American strength has paved the way for peace with a historic ceasefire agreement late Monday, and we call it the 12-day war. Spoke to a few people. I guess that just sounded like the right name. It was a 12-day war. And we think it's over. I don't think they're going to be going back at each other. I don't think so. Not only have we dealt decisively with the critical threat of Iran's nuclear program, which was what I wanted. I said, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've said that for 15 years, long before I decided to do the political thing, but we've also reasserted the credibility of American deterrence, which is like no other. The people at NATO said there's never been anything. You know, I rebuilt the entire military during my first term, and we have a great military, we have great generals. Got to know the good ones and the bad ones. We kept the good ones. Over the past 2 days, I was honored to participate in the NATO leaders meeting and also had extremely good individual discussions with the King and the Queen, Secretary General Ruta, and the Prime Minister. Great discussions. Very knowledgeable people. Major focus of our conversations at the summit was the need for other NATO members to take up the burden of the defense of Europe, and that included the financial burden. As you know, it was 2%, and we got it up to 5%. And they said, a couple of them came up to me, one in particular said, "Sir, we've been trying to get it up to 3% for 20 years, and we haven't been able, and you got it up to 5%. So they're going to be, most of them, I guess almost all of them, are going to be contributing now 5%, a number that people are surprised at, but you need it today. The United States accounts for 2/3 of all NATO defense spending. Since I began pushing for additional commitments in 2017, believe it or not, our allies have increased spending by $700 billion. I said to people, you don't have any money, and a lot of them weren't paying. And so I started the process, and I picked it up as soon as I got back, which is 6 months ago. And following my election last November, almost all have accelerated plans to reach the 2%, 3%, 4%, and then ultimately, very quickly, 5%. And all of this is going to be done very quickly, almost immediately. You probably know this as well as I do. I'm sure they've been talking about it. It's really been a big focus. In a very historic milestone this week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP, something that no one really thought possible. And they said, "You did it, sir, you did it." Well, I don't know if I did it, but I think I did. This will be known as the Hague Defense Commitment, which is pretty good, pretty appropriate. When the Allies reach this number, it will add more than $1 trillion a year. Think of that, $1 trillion per year to our common defense, and this is a monument really to victory, but it's a monumental win for the United States, because we were carrying much more than our fair share. It's quite unfair, actually. But this is a big win for Europe and for actually Western civilization. For years, past administrations failed to get most allies to contribute even the 2%. I remember when I came here, we had 4 countries that were up to 2%, and I remember Poland was there, a couple of them were there. And but most of them were. We had 28 at the time, as you know. It's increased a little bit, and they've agreed now to more than double their budgets in all cases. And Europe stepping up to take more responsibility for its security will help prevent future disasters like the horrible situation with Russia and Ukraine. And hopefully, we're going to get that solved. Last week, they lost 7,000 soldiers, mostly soldiers, but they're also getting hit in Kiev. They're getting hit in some of the towns also. And that means life. Life is disappearing also in the cities and towns. Should have never happened, would have never happened if I was president. Said it 1,000 times. And it never did happen. It's never even thought about. But it's vital that this additional money be spent on very serious military hardware, not bureaucracy, and hopefully that hardware is going to be made in America, because we have the best hardware in the world. You saw that where 14 missiles were shot at us the other day. And they were very nice. They gave us warning. They said, "We're going to shoot them. Is 1 o'clock okay?" They said, "It's fine." And everybody was emptied off the base, so they couldn't get hurt except for the gunners. They call them the gunners. And out of 14 high-end missiles that were shot at the base in Qatar, all 14, as you know, were shot down by our equipment. Amazing stuff. Amazing that they can do. It's like shooting a bullet with a bullet. It's the same thing if you think about it. 14 out of 14, and they weren't even that surprised. I said, "Do you do that well often?" They say we pretty much do, sir. The Ukraine crisis has also highlighted the urgency of rebuilding our defense industrial base, both in the United States and among the allied nations. We cannot afford to be dependent on foreign adversaries for critical minerals. And as you know, we made a deal with Ukraine to take a vast amount of the land they have for minerals. We need it. And once again, I want to thank all of the people in the Netherlands, incredible people. It's a great place. And all of the NATO allies for the tremendous summit that we just had. A letter just came in, and a statement came in from the Atomic Energy Commission of Israel. And I just wanted, this is an official letter, and they're very serious people, as you know. The devastating U.S. strike on Fordo destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility totally inoperable. It was devastated. We assess that the American strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities has set back Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons for many years to come. This achievement can continue indefinitely if Iran does not get access to nuclear material, which it won't. It's so sad that that whole thing had to go. But I just want to thank our pilots. You know, they were maligned and treated very bad, demeaned by fake news CNN, which is back there, believe it or not, wasting time, nobody's watching them. So they're just wasting a lot of time, wasting my time. And the New York Times, they put out a story that, well, maybe they were hit, but it wasn't bad. Well, it was so bad that they ended the war. It ended the war. Somebody said in a certain way, you know, that it was so devastating, actually. If you look at Hiroshima, if you look at Nagasaki, you know, that ended a war too. This ended a war in a different way, but it was so devastating. Also, they have, out of Dubai, just came that Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, this is Iran's foreign ministry, says its nuclear installations were very badly damaged by the American strike. So what bothered me about these reports were fake reports put out by the New York Times, I call it the failing New York Times because it's doing terribly. Without me, it would be doing no business at all. But, and by fake news, CNN and MSDNC, all of these terrible people, you know, they have no credibility. You know, when I started, they were 94% credibility, the media. Now it's at 16%. And I'm very proud of it because I've exposed it for what it is. But when I saw them starting to question the caliber of the attack, was it bad? Well, it was really bad. It was devastating. They were obliterated. In fact, you can't get into the tunnels. They just put that over. That just came out. They can't. There's nothing. There's no way you can even get down. The whole thing is collapsed in a disaster. And I think all of the nuclear stuff is down there because it's very hard to remove. And we did it very quickly. When they heard we were coming, it was, you know, you can't move it. It's very hard, very dangerous actually to move to. And they also knew we were coming, so I don't think too many people want to be down there knowing we're coming. With the bunker busters, as we call them, we're the only ones that have it. We have the best equipment, best nuclear equipment, and we have the best equipment in the world. And by the way, we can't forget our submarine, which was out there, submarines actually, but submarine was out there. We shot 30 rockets into an area, every single one of them. I think it was almost 400 miles away, I think, Pete, 400, and long. It was in the ocean, long ways away. And we shot a total of 30. Every single one of them hit within 9 inches from where it was supposed to be. It took it a lot. Because we didn't do just Fordo, we did 2 others in addition, which hadn't been completely destroyed. So we hit them with a submarine from hundreds of miles away. Amazing, just amazing.
Don't forget to hit the like, share, and
Greatest
subscribe
submarines
so
in the
the
world. Nobody's even
algorithm
close. They're 20 years behind
will
us
send
when it
people to
comes
join
to
the
submarine
channel.
technology. So that's one, and the other was from the Atomic Energy Commission. And they have about 3 or 4 of them now coming in from atomic energy commissions from various places. But the one that we have that just came out, we released it a little while ago, was from the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission, but numerous of them are getting to see the site, and the site has been demolished. And again, we had these brave patriots, these incredible flyers, these
50
people that
lights. We need 50 more
can fly a
lights.
plane better than anybody can fly a plane, going into very hostile territory, flying into the territory that it's got more missiles and things pointed at it, but it was very stealth. They didn't get to see it. It was dark. That's the amazing thing about the shots. They hit the shots perfectly, and yet it was
Come on,
dead
Democrats,
dark. There
get
was
the
no
lights
moon. There
up.
was no light. It was virtually
Y'all love the president.
moonless. It was very dark, and the shots were hit perfectly. But when they get demeaned, and they were very upset about it
We need
because they knew
100
how
lights.
strong it would be. Back in Missouri, the pilots flew about 36 hours, two ways, far distance, and in those incredible B-2s. And we then had the F-22s, and we had the F-35s, and we had other planes, and we had, I think, a total of 52 tankers. That means the big tankers, because the refueling was a lot for all of the different planes that we sent. Incredible operation, and I have to say, General Raisin Kane was incredible. That's why he beat ISIS, and we beat ISIS in a matter of weeks. I was told it would take 4 to 5 years. We did it in a few weeks, and he was great. That's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff right now, because I had a very good experience with him. He knocked out ISIS in a period of literally a few weeks. Amazing. And it was supposed to take a few years, 5 years to be exact. So we had a great victory there, and we then came here, and I think we had a great victory here. But this is an ongoing project. This is the safety of Europe, the safety of the world. And they've raised it from 2% to 5%, something which nobody, and you're talking about over $1 trillion a year. So we're talking about a lot of money coming in from countries that were not paying nearly enough to be effective. So I have, as you know, Marco Rubio with me, and Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State and Secretary of War. Should we say Secretary? You know, it used to be called Secretary of War. Maybe for a couple of weeks we'll call it that, because we feel like warriors. It used to be called Secretary of War. In fact, if you look at the old building next to the White House, you can see where it used to be Secretary of War. Then we became politically correct, and they called it Secretary of Defense. I don't know, maybe we'll have to start thinking about changing it, but we feel that way. Do we have any questions, please? Wow. That's a lot of questions. Who's a nice person? Oh, you're not a nice person, but I'll let you ask one. Go ahead. What's he going to ask? He is not nice at all. I know him well.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time before flying home. You just said you believe the conflict between Israel and Iran is over. What makes you so confident it is? And what do you do if it isn't?
Because I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out. And can it start again? I guess someday it can. It could maybe start soon. I think a big telltale sign was when, as you know, Iran somewhat, by not much, violated the ceasefire, and Israel had the planes going out that morning, and there were a lot of them, 52 of them. And I said, you gotta get them back, and they brought them back. They didn't do anything.
Go
They
ahead,
brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually. They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard. I think the war ended, actually, when we hit the various nuclear sites with the planes. And I just hope you people can give these pilots, these are the best pilots in the world, they're the best shots in the world. They call them shots, that's what they are. And wait a minute, and I just hope you can give them the respect they deserve, because they came home to fake news. And like, oh, gee, there was hardly any damage.
Yeah, they
The things
should
are
have been
decimated.
celebrating.
So, but I think, no, I think they're very much finished. I think Israel's going to get back to doing what they do. And I think that Iran's going to get back. You know, Iran has a huge advantage. They have great oil, and they can do things. I don't see them getting back involved in the nuclear business anymore. I think they've had it. They've been at it for 20 years, and I don't see that happening either. Now, if it does, we're always there. It won't be me. It'll be somebody else, but we're there. We'll have to do something about it. Yes, please, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, fake news, CNN? Oh, yeah, here we go. Where did you hear this question?
Thank you, sir.
You should really say how great our soldiers and our warriors are.
I think everyone appreciates our soldiers and our warriors.
No,
I do have
say
two
it.
questions for you, Mr. President. You just cited Israeli intelligence on these attacks. Earlier, you said U.S. intelligence was inconclusive. Are you relying on Israeli intelligence for your assessment of the impact of the strikes?
Now, this is also Iran made the statement, and it's also, if you read the document that was given, that Pete can talk about if you'd like, the document said it could be very severe damage, but they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. We think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out. Okay, question? Please, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, blue dress.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Yesterday you said China can now continue to purchase oil from Iran.
Yeah.
Are you giving up on your maximum pressure campaign? Because there's
With who?
sanctions right now
With who?
on Iran.
Well, look, they just had a war. The war was fought. They fought it bravely. I'm not giving up. They're in the oil business. I mean, I could stop it if I wanted. I could sell China the oil myself. I don't want to do that. They're going to need money to put that country back into shape. We want to see that happen. Would it? No. If they're going to sell oil, they're going to sell oil. We're not taking over the oil. We could have, you know. I used to say with Iraq, keep the oil. I could say it here too. We could have kept the oil. No, China is going to want to buy oil. They can buy it from us. They can buy it from other people. But you're going to have to put that country back into shape. It desperately needs money. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please. Here we go. I'm picking the beauties today. Go ahead.
Mr. President, Secretary General Rutte has described President Putin as an adversary, a threat, an enemy. Do you view him the same way? And in addition to that, you mentioned General King, your chief of staff, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
General King.
Yes, he has said that Mr. Putin has territorial ambitions beyond Ukraine. Do you view that in the same way?
Possible. I mean, it's possible. I know one thing, he'd like to settle. He'd like to get out of this thing. It's a mess for him. He called the other day. He said, can I help you with Iran? I said, no, you can help me with Russia. Because, you know, in the last few weeks, we took care of India and Pakistan.
That's right.
Kosovo, Serbia. I think on Friday we have coming in, the Congo is coming in, and Rwanda is coming in. That was a vicious war that went on, a machete war. Heads chopped off all over Africa. They're coming in. We did two others in addition to that. Nobody's ever done anything like this. No, I consider him a person that's, I think, been misguided. I'm very surprised, actually. I thought we would have had that settled easy. I've settled 4 of them in the meantime. But he did call up and he said, you know, he's close to Iran. He'd like to help us get a settlement. I said, no, you help me get a settlement with Russia. And I think we're going to be doing that too. Yeah, please. Go ahead, please.
What was that?
Thank you, Mr. President. You've made clear your position on what impact the strikes had. I wanted to ask you what is next with Iran. For instance, is there any indication from U.S. intelligence that Iran was able to move any material, including
No, we just the
uranium?
opposite. We think we hit them so hard and so fast they didn't get to move. And if you knew about that material, it's very hard and very dangerous to move. It's called, and many people, they call it dust, but it's very, very heavy. It's very, very hard to move. And they were way down, you know, they're 30 stories down. They're literally 30, 35 stories down underground. Oh yeah, we think we think it's covered with granite, concrete, and steel.
Can I ask you, are you interested in restarting negotiations with Iran? And if so, have they resisted?
So
Or
our
is this sort of a
people,
settlement?
Marco could answer this, but our people are not, I'm not. The way I look at it, they fought, the war's done, and you know, I could get a statement that they're not going to go nuclear. We're probably going to ask for that, but they're not going to be doing it. But they're not going to be doing it anyway. They've had it. They've had it. Now, maybe someday in the future we'll want that. But I've asked Marco, do you want to draw, I just asked him the question as we were walking on the stage, do you want to draw up a little agreement for them to sign? Because I think we can get them to sign it. I don't think it's necessary. Marco, do you want to talk about that, please?
Mr. President, I think President Trump has shown a willingness to meet and talk to anybody in the world who's interested in peace. I don't know of any president that's been as willing as he has to meet with anyone and talk about peace. We'd love to have peaceful relations with any country in the world. And so obviously that'll depend on Iran's willingness not just to engage in peace, but to negotiate directly with the United States, not through some third country or fourth country process. But I know of no president, probably in our modern history, that's sought peace more than President Trump has.
Sounds like the door is open, but you're in no rush. Is that right? It sounds like the door is open, but
I'll tell you what, look, we're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign an agreement, I don't know. To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought, now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not. The only thing we'd be asking for is what we were asking for before about we want no nuclear, but we destroyed the nuclear. In other words, it's destroyed. I said, Iran will not have nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up to kingdom come. And so I don't feel very strongly about it. We got a document, wouldn't be bad. We're going to meet with them, actually. We're going to meet with them. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Mr. President, Netherlands TV, thank you for visiting our country. As I understood, I of course would like to know how you slept last night at the House of the King.
Oh, I slept beautifully.
But probably a more serious question. I think you just had a meeting with President Zelensky. Did you discuss any ceasefire in this Russo-Ukrainian?
No, I wanted to know how he's doing. He was very nice, actually. You know, we had little rough times. He was, couldn't have been nicer. I think he'd like to see an end to this. I do. I think what I took from the meeting couldn't have been nicer, actually. But I took from the meeting that he'd like to see it end. I think it's a great time to end it. I'm going to speak to Vladimir Putin, see if we can get it ended. But look, these are brave people. They're fighting these wars all over the place. You know, last week they had, I guess, I told you, close to 7,000 young soldiers, Russian and Ukrainian soldiers were killed, 7,000 in 1 week. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I'll be speaking to Putin. Now, I had a good meeting with Zelensky, and I had a lot of good meetings. We had a lot of good meetings with a lot of people, a lot of great leaders. But he's fighting a brave battle. It's a tough battle. Yeah. Go ahead, white dress.
Thank you. Ida Hannekainen from Finland, Ilta-Sanomat. You have played golf with President Alexander Stubb. How do you see Finland as a NATO ally and partner, and how would you describe your relationship with our president?
Well, he's a very good golfer, okay? In fact, he was on his college golf team. He went to a good college in the South, as you know, a very good college, and he was a good golfer. We had a good time. I think my relationship's great. I want to buy icebreakers. You know, you're very good at icebreakers. And I actually made him an offer. I didn't go to Congress. They'll try and impeach me for this. But there's an old, it's not old, it's fairly new, but it's used icebreaker. And I offered him about 1/3 of what he asked for. But we're negotiating. We need icebreakers in the U.S. And if we can get some inexpensively, I'd like to do that. Actually, they'll fix it up, make it good. Also, we may buy some icebreakers. You know, you're the king of icebreakers, that particular country. They make them good. They make them really good, and they know what they're doing. And so we're negotiating with them for about 15 different icebreakers, but one of them is available now. It's old, and it's, old. It's like 5-6 years old. And we're trying to buy it. We're trying to make a good deal. It's all I do my whole life. My whole life, that's all I do is make deals. Yeah, please. Go ahead. Sir, go ahead.
Yeah, a question for NewsHour, Dutch TV. First of all, on Article 5, on your way here, you spoke about the commitment of the US to Article 5, saying, I'll give you my definition once we're here. What is your definition, and may the US commitment to Article 5 change in case some of the NATO members do not reach the threshold that was discussed today? My second question is following up on a colleague on Iran. What intel reports do say that everything over there was obliterated.
Yeah, well, there are numerous of those reports, and they're coming out fast and furious. But the most respected ones we've already seen. And I will say that on a very confidential basis, they're looking at the reports, like numerous reports, and including people going to the site and checking the site. And they're going to be having, I guess you're going to be having over the next couple of days we're going to encapsulate it. But no, the site was obliterated, just like I said it was. And just like the pilots should be given credit for. As far as Article 5, look, when I came here because it was something I'm supposed to be doing, but I left here a little bit differently. I said, I watched the heads of these countries get up, and the love and the passion that they showed for their country was unbelievable. I've never seen quite anything like it. They want to protect their country, and they need the United States. And without the United States, it's not going to be the same. And you can ask Mark, or you can ask any of the people that were there. It was really moving to see it. They loved their country. They were so respectful of me because I'm the head of the United States. And I made, the King of Saudi Arabia, when I was in the Middle East, so I was in Qatar for a different reason, not a reason to get shot at. We were in there for economic development reasons, Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. All three leaders of those countries, and we took back $5.1 trillion into the United States. All three leaders said, you're presiding over the hottest country in the world. The United States right now is the hottest country. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants a piece of it. He said, a year ago, your country was dead. You had a deadhead running it. You had a country that was dead, and it was dead. You had people pouring through the borders. You had inflation. You had everything. He said, you've made it in 5 months at that time. You've made it the hottest country. This is the hottest country in the world. The United States right now is the hottest country in the world. And when I was around that table, it was a nice group of people, many of whom I knew from previous. When I saw the passion they had for the country, almost everyone, and you probably have the tapes, it was very public, but almost every one of them said, thank God for the United States. Without the United States, they couldn't really have NATO. It wouldn't work. It was great. And I left here differently. I left here saying that these people really love their countries. It's not a ripoff. And we're here to help them protect their country. Okay, we'll do one or two more.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah. A question on Spain. Are you satisfied with today?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And they're doing very well. The economy is very well. And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening. Spain is the only country that, are you from Spain?
Yeah.
Good, congratulations. You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make it up. You know what we're going to do? We're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much. And I'm actually serious about that. We're going to make Spain.
All right, Trump.
I like Spain. I have so many people from Spain. That it's a great place and they're great people. But Spain is the only country out of all other countries that refuses to pay.
But what their protection of NATO.
So they want a little bit of a free ride. But they'll have to pay it back to us on trade because I'm not going to let that happen. It's unfair. It's unfair to NATO. All right, sir, please. Go ahead, right in the back. Yeah, you tall one. The tall man.
Mr. President, Johannes Petra from Austrian National Television.
How are you?
You once said that you would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. You later said that sarcastically.
Of course it was sarcastic.
But you've now been in office for 5 months and 5 days. Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because it's more difficult than
for real?
People would have any idea.
How many wars
Vladimir
have he
Putin has
taken
been more
on
difficult.
and stuff going on
Frankly,
in our
I had
country?
some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him.
He's stupid.
And it's been more difficult than
That was
other
a
wars. I mean, look, we just ended a war in 12
question.
days that was simmering for 30 years, frankly. We ended
That is
Rwanda and the Congo. They're coming to sign the documents. We've already signed basic documents, but they're coming, I think, to the White House on Friday.
5 months.
We ended, Serbia was gonna go at it. But maybe the most important of all, India and Pakistan. And that wasn't whether or not they may someday have nukes like we're talking about in the Middle East, like we're talking about with Israel and Iran. This is they have nuclear weapons. I ended that with a series of phone calls on trade. I said, look, if you're gonna go fighting each other, it was getting very bad. You know how bad that last attack was. It was really bad. If you're gonna go fighting each other, we're not doing any trade deal. No, you have to do a trade deal. I said, we're not doing any trade deal. And in fact, I had the general, who really was very impressive. The general from Pakistan was in my office last week. You know, Prime Minister Modi is a great friend of mine. He's a great gentleman. He's a great man. And I got them to reason. I said, we're not doing a trade deal if you're going to fight. And if you're going to fight each other, we're not doing a trade deal. And you know what? He said, no, I want to do the trade deal. We stopped the nuclear war. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. Here's another beauty, Jeff. He is a beauty, all right.
Mr. President, to follow up on Ukraine, will the United States contribute any more money to Ukraine's defense this year to the $5 billion that allies are giving? And one question, you had another meeting with the Dutch opposition leader, Mr. Wilders. Can you tell us about that meeting? And are you upset about his anti-Muslim stance?
I'm not upset about it. It's just his view. He's unhappy with the way things are going in this country and various countries. He was an opposition leader, and I was asked to meet with the opposition leader by the people that are running. I think they have some deal where if you have a meeting, you're supposed to meet with an opposition leader. I said, that's strange. We don't do that. But I met with I didn't know him. He seemed like a very nice guy, but he's in opposition to the current people, and that was set up by the current people. So I assume when I met with the Prime Minister, you're supposed to meet with the opposition. We'll have to try that sometime in our country. Let's not do it. But I thought he was very good. As far as the money going, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of spirit. Look, Vladimir Putin really has to end that war. People are dying at levels that people haven't seen before for a long time. Go ahead. Go ahead. White shirt. Oh, she's all excited.
Okay. So, BBC News Ukrainian. I would
Where are
like
you
to ask
from?
you, I'm from Ukraine.
Oh.
So my question to you is whether or not the US is ready to sell anti-air missile systems Patriot to Ukraine. We know that Russia has been pounding Ukraine really heavily right now.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there.
Wow.
And
I can see you're very, it's amazing.
And me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw actually, because he wanted me to be.
Is your husband a soldier? No?
He's.
He's there now?
Yeah.
Wow. That's rough stuff, right? That's tough. And you're living here?
In Warsaw.
And you're a reporter?
I am.
Good. So let me just tell you, they do want to have the anti-missile missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available. They're very hard to get. We need them too. We were supplying them to Israel, and they're very effective, 100% effective. Hard to believe how effective. And they do want that more than any other thing, as you probably know. That's a very good question, and I wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I can see it's very upsetting to you. So say hello to your husband, okay? Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. You were criticizing.
Where are you from?
Bloomberg News.
Oh, Bloomberg.
You were criticizing the Federal Reserve Chair before coming to this summit.
Yeah, I think he's terrible.
I was wondering if you've begun interviewing different candidates for the Fed pick.
Yeah, I know within 3 or 4 people who I'm going to pick. I mean, he goes out pretty soon, unfortunately, because I think he's terrible. We have no inflation. We have a tremendous economy. Hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff money is pouring in. Factories are being built because they don't want to pay the tariffs, so they're building them all over the country. I think we're close to $15 trillion. I told you 5.1 trillion from the Middle East alone, but of investment money coming in. There's never been anything like that in the history of our country. But we have no inflation. And we have borrowing, because Biden stupidly, they did short-term debt. So we have borrowing coming up. And, we'll go 10 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter, but we'll go a long period of time when we do the debt. And because of him, because of this guy, we will have to pay, for years, we'll be paying for him. And I said to him, listen, there's no inflation. He says, but maybe there'll be some. And that's true. I said, if there is some, what you do is raise the rate. I'm okay with that. You raise the rate in 2 years from now or a year from now. But because the rate's high, we have to pay more for debt. It's pretty equal. In other words, if it's 4%, it's 4%. If you drop it a point, you'll pay 3%. So it's fairly equal, not necessarily, but fairly equal. So we're going to end up paying maybe 2 points or 3 points more. 3 points would be about $900 billion a year because of this very average mentally person. He's an average mentally person. I'd say low in terms of what he does. Low IQ for what he does. Okay. Wait. So instead of paying $900 billion, we don't want to pay 900 just because he doesn't want to lower the rate. I said, if there's inflation in 2 years or 3 years or 1 year from now, you raise the rate, you take care of the inflation, among other things. But he's probably a very political guy, I guess. I don't know. I think he's a very stupid person, actually. All right, one more, and let's go. How about you? Go ahead. She looks so happy and everything.
Thank you. I'm from Spain too. I'm Ana from La Vanguardia. I wanted to know if
You're where from?
Spain too. I wanted to know if you want to.
That's the Spain corner right there. Shouldn't have said that. That's okay. I do like Spain, by the way. I think it's unfair that they're not paying, but go ahead.
Are you going to negotiate directly with Spain about?
I'm going to negotiate directly with Spain. I'm going to do it myself. They're going to pay. They'll pay more money this way. You should tell them to go back and pay. You're a reporter.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell them to go back. They ought to join all of those countries that are paying 5%.
That's a president.
Spain's going to be just about the only one that's not. They were the most hostile toward doing it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay. All right, Kelly, go ahead. Here we go. Here's another one.
Hello, sir. Thank you very
We
much.
got them all today.
Okay. So, Mr. President, you talked about expecting some on-the-ground assessments at Fordo and other sites.
Oh,
Is that
here again.
Israeli and U.S.?
It's been obliterated, Kelly. It's been
What is your message then, sir, to the intelligence community when they present reports? You're not disputing the DIA report. You're just
They presented a
exists.
report that wasn't finished. We're talking about something that took place 3 days ago.
I understand that's our
The report was
initial
done
assessment. So
2
what
days
is
ago.
your-
Wait a minute.
Yes.
They didn't see it. All they can do is take a guess. Now, if you take a look at the pictures, if you take a look how it's all blackened, the fire and brimstone is all underground because it's granite and it's all underground. You don't show it. But even there, with all of that being said, the whole area for 75 yards around the hole where it hit is black with fire. The group that's run by this gentleman, in fact, you may want to talk about it for a second because we're going to issue a report. And I think it's not even a very exciting report at this point. It's been obliterated, totally obliterated. And they did a report, but it was like, if you look at the dates, it's just a few days after it
Understood,
happened.
sir.
So they didn't see it. They said it may be very severe. Go ahead.
Understood. Do you have a message for the intelligence community, though, in terms of unvarnished information getting to you, that it's not?
I don't really have a message. I would say issue the report when you know what happened. I wouldn't say that it could be severe or maybe not. They use the word severe. It could be severe or maybe it's not. So people like you picked up and said, it's not severe.
Without a
No,
teleprompter.
the report was not a complete report. Yeah, the message was probably wait till you know the answer before you.
And sir, did you not have a public component to your Zelensky
Okay,
meeting
you just
for a
doing too
tactical
much.
reason with President?
Doing too much, lady.
Hello, Mr. Secretary.
There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These
She
pilots,
won't let go of the mic.
these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way
Yeah,
to spin it
Yes.
for their own political reasons to
That's
try to
it.
hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks.
No.
They want to spin it to try to make him look bad
That's
based on a
true.
leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary, a preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12, 30,000 pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere is trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that drop the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities have been set back
Why
beyond
would
what
they
they thought
come
was
right
possible
away?
because of the courage of a commander-in-chief
Tell
who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
But you're
Fake
not
news.
disputing the report said what
Get
it said.
the
It
goddamn
was
mic
initial.
from her.
The report said what it said, and it was fine. It was severe, they think, but they had no idea. They shouldn't have issued a report until they did.
Answer.
But we've gotten the information. I think Pete said it
That
better
girl
than you
don't know
can
how
say
to
it.
snatch it
And
from
you
her
know,
ass.
he should be proud, you, especially you, should be proud of those pilots, and you shouldn't be trying to demean them.
No, there's
Those pilots flew
Get
with
the
at great
damn mic
risk,
from
a
her.
big chance that they'd never come back home and
Get
see
it
their
from
husbands or
her.
their wives. Let me
Get
just tell
that
you, you and
anti-American.
NBC, fake news, which is one of the worst,
Anti-American.
and CNN, New York Times, are all bad. They're sick. There's something wrong with them. You know what? You should be
Anti-Americans.
praising those people instead of trying to find something. By getting me, by trying to go and get
Not
me,
one
you're hurting
positive
those
thing.
people. They were devastated. You know, I got a
Okay,
call
they
from
say.
Missouri, great state, and I won 3 times by a lot. And I got a call that the pilots and the people on the plane were devastated because they were trying to minimize the attack. And they all said it was
go
hit.
for
But we don't think it was really maybe hit that badly. And they were devastated.
Instead of giving
They put their
Americans
lives
credit,
on the line,
how
and
about
then they
giving
have-
America some damn
and I'm
credit?
not referring to you, but
How
real
about that?
scum, real scum come out and write reports that are the opposite. You should make them heroes and heroines. You should make them really people that they were so devastated when they heard this news. And you know what they said? One of them, I spoke to one of them, said, "Sir, we hit the site. It was perfect. It was dead on." Because they don't understand fake news, because they have a normal life, except they have to fly very big, very fast planes. But it's a shame. You should be making them heroes. All right, in the back. Go ahead, back, white, yeah. White jacket, yeah. Go ahead, good morning. Hello.
Deborah Haynes from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No?
Do you
He did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that, but do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend Europe on their own?
I think they need help a little bit at the beginning, and I think they'll be able to, and I think they're going to remember this day. And this was a big day for NATO. You know, this was a very big day. They took it. One of the gentlemen said, "You know what? We've been trying to raise money raise the rate for 30 years." He said, 20 years from almost the beginning. And he's been there for a long time. He said, "Until you came along, it never happened. What you did is amazing." It's been sort of an amazing day for a lot of reasons, but also for that. Yeah, go
Do
ahead.
you think they can do it without you, though, in the future? Can they do it without
Well, ask Mark.
States?
I mean, you have to ask Mark. Okay? So we're heading back. We're heading back. I want to thank these 2 gentlemen behind me. They're incredible people, both of them. They've done a fantastic job. And Susie's in the front, and she's done great. And Monica, thank you very much. It was quite an exciting time. And we're going to be heading back. We'll be back soon, and we'll see you in Washington, D.C. Remember this, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
God bless America. You know what? These reporters are so irritating at this point. I mean, where were they when Bidenomics had opened up the borders? Where were all these questions? How come they didn't ask Biden when he's going to end the war in Ukraine and Russia? That war was going on 3 years before Trump even got sworn into office, and they had no communication. They didn't even try to talk to Russia and Ukraine. Nobody did anything. So all the Democrats on here, and I am a freaking, every time I vote, I've always voted for a damn Democrat. And I'm here to say, until last election, I'm here to say, where the hell was all this media at when our country was being destroyed, and they allowed every type of terrorist, every type of cartel, every type of Ukrainian NS-13, Trinidad Raga, 350,000 missing kids, fentanyl. Where the hell were everybody at then? Wow. Now that our country is as a freaking threat inside our damn country now.
Well, I could tell from her tone from the start, off the bat, she was going to be a problem. And the other lady was so weak she couldn't take the microphone away from her. But I could tell from the start that lady was going to be a problem just by her tone and the way she was speaking.
And yeah, thanks for calling me Miss Truth. We're truth seekers. Everybody on here, we're truth seekers. And yeah, I heard. Now that's profound. Like, yeah. You want to say more?
Yeah, no, that's just all I was saying. But you can tell that people, no matter what Trump does or Trump says, like it's an issue, there's a problem. They didn't do this for Biden. They didn't do this for, you can name the presidents, didn't do this for Obama, didn't do this for Bill Clinton, George Bush. But everything Donald Trump does, it's like they make it like he's trying to destroy the whole world. It's like he's the president of the world. Like they ask him these questions like he's the president for everyone.
For the world. He done ended and negotiated like 3 or 4 other wars other than Ukraine and Russia. And they're talking about, well, how come you didn't finish negotiating with Russia and Ukraine? Why the hell didn't they negotiate for 3 years that there was no communication under Biden and Kamala's administration? Why was it silence with the Democrats? No one even talked or open up communications until Trump. He just got sworn into office January the 20th. Where were all y'all at? Where were y'all at? I mean, come on now. And I can freely talk. For one thing, I'm a black woman, and most 93% of black people voted for the Democratic Party no matter what. Jesus will be back before we start looking at policy and seeing what's going to be good for our community, what's going to be good for us as Americans. Until we do that, they got us on lockdown. But meanwhile, you know, and here I voted Republican. I voted for Trump. I will vote for him over and over and over and over again. Yeah. Compared to that the Democratic Party that has no leadership. They have no plan. They have nothing on the table about what they're going to do for our inflation. They have nothing. They have nothing.
Yes, Shauna, Jesus is shaking his head at America, but he was shaking his head more at America when Biden was president, having Day of Visibility, Transgender Day, on the day of resurrection of Jesus Christ.
They saw how horrible that administration is.
More at when Kamala was having abortion.
The devil is a liar. Y'all know, if I can say, that administration and currently this administration, that administration, all they do is gaslight us not to look at them. That's it. No matter, he done had a successful mission, our military, that they felt proud that they tried to intervene and made it no King's Day. They couldn't even celebrate our freaking military 250th and U.S. Army and birthday because they got you so gaslighted. The only kings are the freaking Democrats because you didn't even vote for Kamala to run for president. She was selected like a freaking king. Everything they say is what they are. Bidenomics is the reason why your damn egg prices were high, why inflation was like it was, why the economy was horrible, why black employment was at rock bottom. The only people getting hired were illegal immigrants over Americans. They prioritized non-citizens over American citizens, and you got American citizens. They act like they don't see. Blame them too. That's all. Blame them. Hold them accountable. Jasmine Crockett, ask her, what have you done for Americans? Ask Hakeem Jeffries, what are you doing for Americans? Ask Schumer, what are you doing? Ask them.
Joshua, Trump has done more for black people than any president there's ever been.
Here we go with that.
Did the first step. They said, Mama, Trump hates you because you're a black woman. Wow.
You know what? Jesus said that we would perish for lack of knowledge. Do your freaking research. I was guilty of that. I was guilty of it. I campaigned. You can go to my other videos. You'll see me with Biden. I got selfies with Biden. I got selfies with Obama. I have been at conventions, the DNC, everything right there involved. I have canvassed, I've given speeches, I've done over 200 rallies. I'm an activist, legislative director. I've done it all. I'm not just a voter. I actively campaign for that damn party. You know, I had no idea about Biden, and this is my fault. Because we always vote Democrats, because it's supposed to be the People's Party, which it is not. It's no longer the working class and the Union Party. It's not. It has changed. It's not the same party as yesteryear. But I did all this campaigning and never knew that freaking Biden, I heard little pieces, but I never paid attention to it because the Republicans are the bad guys. Don't listen. They're against blacks. I'm thinking they the Ku Klux Klan, and the goddamn Democrats are the ones that started the Ku Klux Klan. I didn't know that Biden was the author of the 1994 crime bill, which caused mass incarceration of black men. You take the father out of the household, you know what happens to your children when they're left by themselves? We are intelligent, articulate. We got so many billionaires and millionaires in our black community, it's not even funny. We are successful, but we're still lost because we are not understanding who's really for us. Black people should have never have voted for Biden, what he did to our families.
And then they promote abortion to black women.
Yeah, they promote more black women have abortions than anyone else. They ran on freaking abortion. Why didn't they run on their record like you're supposed to? They're supposed to say, we have the economy great. Look how low egg prices are. Look how great inflation is. Look how we have the borders closed. Look how we don't have 350,000 missing children. Look how we don't have more people dying from fentanyl that's coming into the country through cartel. They're supposed to say all this. They couldn't say nothing. That was my fault. I didn't look at Kamala and her record, how she incarcerated black men as well.
Joshua, then you're just not agreeing and being for the president of the United States. So that does mean that you're a Democrat. If you don't support or agree with Trump, then you are a Democrat.
I had no idea that they were the wolves in sheep clothing because it was my fault. I don't look at policies. I didn't look at their records. I would have campaigned against them if I had known. And 2028, I don't know who's going to run, but there's not a Democrat right now that can run for anything. They are horrible. They are not focused on Americans. They are anti-American. They don't do anything for us. Nothing is about us. They have caused, those open borders have allowed people into this country that shouldn't be here. They shouldn't even be here.
Okay, Joshua, then you be independent and your vote meaning nothing because an independent will never win the election. Sorry to break it to you, but an independent will never win.
As long as they are against what Jesus, my Jesus, because he's not in abortion. God is holy. He's not into abortion. God is not into same-sex marriages. This is what the Democratic Party has become. This is what they run on. God is not into men and women's sports. God is not there. He is holy. God is not into transgender. We love you, love them. And you love them by telling them the truth. God created heavens and the earth. He created man and woman. There's not a doctor that can be God. Period. Oh, they can mutilate you and they can take your money and they could cause you health problems for the rest of your life. But they cannot change your gender. You know, these are the lies that the Democrats have going on to people. Be happy. You're perfectly and wonderfully made. You're the apple of God's eye. You're beautiful just the way you are. Your complexion, your ethnicity, your height, your whatever. God loves you. He loves all of us. All of us. And you show love by not lying to people. God is not into Visibility Day on Resurrection Sunday. That's what Biden did last year. On our most holiest day when Jesus was resurrected, he went out there talking about Transgender Visibility Day.
Obama was the king of that.
And yeah, Obama changed the party. He became what? He became the president of LGBTQ. He did all that. It's not the same. And then what do they spend their time doing right now? Trump this, Trump that, Trump this. Like he's supposed to be the world solver. Why did he got to solve, it's not just the problems here in the United States. I want him to put America first. They're asking him questions like he's supposed to solve, they got their own presidents. They're supposed to solve their issues in their country. Russia and Ukraine has a president. China has everybody, Spain. Solve your problems. And Trump is making his rounds in lightning speed, Pakistan and India. He brought that to rest. They have nuclear capabilities. You got Israel and Iran. We don't know how long it's going to be peace in the Middle East, but at least there's a ceasefire. They're not trying to slaughter each other. Nobody else has done that. But only thing they're finding, if he had allowed them Democrats to know what our military was doing, it would have failed. The pilots would have died. They would have been shot down. They would have let the world know what we're going to do. That's what those damn people would have done.
The King Man said, doesn't the day of Easter change every year? LGBTQ rights.
So what? So what? But Jesus dying for our sins don't change. That doesn't change. That doesn't change what he did 2,000 years ago. That doesn't change what he's done for us. How long transgender's been around? Have they been around 2,000 years that we've been doing? We supposed to lift them up. We got Pride Month, but we only have one day for the vets. One day.
All I gotta do is say to you is just read your Bible, read Leviticus 18:22, and don't wait until it's too late to when you're actually in front of God and He judges you then. You need to be saved while you're on earth. But you do not want to go to the lake of fire.
The blood is for all of us. He loves all of us. It doesn't matter what your gender is, your sexuality is, but God is a holy God. He's not going to accept sin. That's why the blood is so we can repent and ask for forgiveness. If somebody feels as though that they just wake up and they tell me they want to become a woman and they are God, then it's something mentally that's going on. Not physically, it's a mental issue.
King's man must be transgender.
Well, we pray for you.
Yeah.
You know, we want the
He's
best.
going to bat for him.
We want the best, but there's no such thing as a trans. There's no such thing. That's a made-up word. There's no such thing as a trans anything. That man that wants to be a woman will always still be a man. He will always be a man. That woman that wants to be a man, she will always be a woman. You could trans this, but they will it still will be two genders. Their DNA will never change. It will never. I'm telling you the truth. It will never change. You will always be identified as through your DNA as what you are, even when you're no longer here on earth. They can dig you up and your gender is going to say you were a male. Period. They're not going to say, oh, you used to carry a handbag, or you wore woman clothing, or you want to tell straight men that you are a woman. You're not a woman. You still have your male parts. You're not a woman. If you get your male parts removed, you're still a man.
And you're going to be in pain for forever.
You're going to be on all kinds of medication. They're going to shorten your lifespan, and you're going to be more depressed than ever before. You will not be able to reproduce. You won't be able to, that hole that they gave is going to close up. Save yourself. Save your life.
You two punk house. Why do you believe that?
Save yourself. You can't change what you were born as. You can't change that. Yeah. And don't let people lie. Now that's a lie. People telling you, anybody telling you that you can't, that's a lie. Work it out with Jesus. Work it out with God. Pray.
We're trying to stop people from going to hell.
Go get counseling. Because you don't want to give your money to these doctors and they mutilate you. You don't want that. You don't want that. They cannot turn you into a woman.
Dev, you must be transgender.
They can't turn you into a woman.
Hey, you got any proof to that claim that you just made?
They can't turn you into a woman. And women, they can't turn you into a man. A man bone density is larger. A man lung capacity is larger. Yeah. They can't change you into what you are not.
Got something else about the Democrat Party. There's a lot of atheists in the Democrat Party. Or a lot of people that just don't have any respect for God. Because they rather act like the Big Bang Theory makes a lot of sense and evolution theory makes
a lot of sense. There are men and women's sports. There are men that know that if they say that they only have to declare they're a woman and then they're allowed. Even if they have their testicles, some states are still allowing it.
Winter, why do you believe that?
Like, what's the state? What is it? No, it's not Boston.
You two punk, you're definitely a transgender. And so is Joshua, and so is the King's man.
You know what? Be who God created. Love yourself. Stop fighting for what you... Love yourself. Love yourself who you are. Love yourself. Something happened to you. For you not to want to even, you're the apple of God's eye. If you were created as a male, you're the apple of God's eye. You are phenomenal.
So now the King's man keeps trying to say these different syndromes to act like that transgender is a natural thing.
It's nothing natural. When you put the word trans in it, that's not natural. You can't trans into anything other than what you were born as. You can maybe convince yourself, but you're not going to convince the world what you really are. It's sad that we had people like Obama and people like that, and they started this woke mentality that they're lying to people. They can't change your gender. They try to change the thoughts of people. They want the rest of us to go with a delusion. You want us, you don't want to believe what you are, but you want us to believe what you are not. You want us to believe what you are not.
They want us to believe the unbelievable.
If you want to believe that, then that's your right. But you can't convince the rest of us to believe what you are not. And that's sad. You know, be happy. Don't let these doctors mutilate your bodies.
Now Kingsman is saying the syndrome is where a female is born with XY chromosomes.
You know, it's like they can't even define what a woman is. I mean, woman was declared since the beginning of time.
Yo, to the guy.
Since the beginning, who birthed y'all?
To the guys.
What was a rhino birthed you? Who birthed you?
To the guys in here, are you sure that you like girls? Because y'all acting a little suspect.
If it's a trans woman can't have children. He can't recreate. He's not a woman. They won't define what a woman is. Why do you have to define what a woman is? Who gave birth to you?
What's a woman? Joshua, you're definitely a Democrat, dude.
They like won't define. Why do you have to now talk about what define? Well, how crazy is that?
YouTube punk, how are we lying? What
Who's
we
your
lying
mother?
about?
You got a mother, right? Who's your mother?
Oh, now Kinkman saying he likes girls and guys. See, that's what.
That's
what
the delusion of this world. It's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
You should have male friends and women or girls as your partners. That's how it should be. It's a lust spirit. It's a demonic spirit for you to want to interact with the same sex. That's lust. That comes from the devil. You know the devil is real. You think that God is holy. That's not God. God is not in that. And nothing feels great about that. You don't feel better with that because it's nasty. It's nasty. You're gonna be eyeballing a dude? A dude? And he going up your come on now.
No, it's wrong. No, it's not natural.
You know it's not even natural. But it's lust. It's a lust. It's lust. It's lust. Ain't no loving, that's lust.
Well, that's why they have the channel talking to people of that community, and they talk about the trauma that they face in the
You
past.
can look up different people on YouTube that have the actual transgenders.
Yeah.
And people, they're online talking against it, what they have gone through. More and more of them, after these operations, after taking these blockers, after all that, go listen to them. Listen to them. And see what they are saying, the ones that have had experience. These operations and the things that have been done to them, and how they were pushed into taking these hormone pills and all this kind of stuff, even by their own parents. It matters who raised you. God help them.
D. You got any proof of that claim? YouTube punk, you're obviously part of that community, and so is Joshua.
You know what, the thing
Kingsman.
about it is that no matter what you say, but you know what, Jesus is real.
You're gonna find out, DD.
You're going to find out at the end of the day. We're all going to find out. But this is not for people who are already lost. This is for people that are contemplating and they don't love who they are. This is for people before they trying to do this to kids that can't even drive yet. They can't even get a license to drive. They won't even allow them to drink in a bar, but they're allowing them to make decisions, children, about their bodies before they even have developed mentally. I'm not talking about adults. Adults can do what they want to do. I'm talking about people who are under the age of 18. Let them grow up. Let them become adults. Don't throw that on these children.
Okay, let me read something to them. I said suicide rates among transgender and gay individuals is significantly higher than among the general population. 42 to 45% of transgender adults in the U.S. has attempted suicide at some point of their lives. Nearly 1 in 2 transgender people report seriously considering suicide.
Listen to that.
Around 40% of gay youth seriously considered suicide in the past year. Suicide attempts are highest among bisexual youth within the gay community. Why are the suicide rates so high when people are a part of that community than the normal
and that's them being what they want to be.
Yeah.
That's them being what they want to be. That's not the cure. The cure is that first of all, they need a psychiatrist. They need a therapist. They need to talk about what's going on mentally. They got to be made whole. They need peace. They're involved in that lifestyle and they're more suicidal. It's crazy. They're more depressed. That's not the answer. Maybe for some of you, but this is not for everybody.
I thought that's what they wanted to be.
That's what they wanted to be, and nobody's stopping them. And that's what's going on. So you got to pray for people. You know, If you want to be that way, that's your individual right. But don't push that on everybody else. Don't push that. You know, especially on the children. The children. Don't put that on the children. Let them grow up and let them become an adult. And then if they want to make those decisions, then let them make the decisions. But they're doing this with kids. 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 You know, it's just sad. You know, you could try, you know what? We are perfectly and wonderfully made. You can't be on here unless you can stand on business, stand 10 toes down. You can agree to disagree, but don't be disrespectful. That's all we ask. Make your point. Don't get upset because the truth hurts. You can agree to disagree, but don't start, you know, you're so upset. You're not making a point. He just read the statistics. You can Google it.
Yeah, you guys
this is
can look this up
public
yourselves.
knowledge.
Yeah, you can look it up yourself.
Public
you can't
knowledge.
argue facts. You can't argue facts. You can look this up.
And you could go on YouTube. You could go on Google, and you could even hear what people have experienced, what they are saying. But no one is going against your beliefs. Whatever you want to be, that's your right. But that don't make it right. If that's what your lifestyle, you just want other people to join in, and you don't like people saying don't do it. They shouldn't do it. If they have an opportunity, get the help you need. Get the mental help you need, because it's a mental issue. A lot of times something has happened to them in their childhood that they say, oh, now I would like men, or now I like, well, a lot of times, the majority of the times, they've been molested or raped or something had happened to them. You can find that out. You can find that out. You take a man's manhood, they're never the same again. You know, so you can look these things up. There's no gay gene. There's no, that baby is not born saying, oh, I'm gay. No child is born that way. They're not born like that. It's from influences that's been placed around children, especially now in this day and time when you see everything, even on public television. They're seeing everything. Nothing is restricted from kids having access to. And they have it, even these teachers in schools are pushing this on them.
And also, you don't have to, you can look up Leviticus 18:22, but you can also look at what God did to Sodom and Gomorrah. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could look at what God did to that community of people that were involved in that lifestyle.
And they talking about some scientific. I know about God. Y'all, you just look. You can stay with your agenda. Nobody's disputing your agenda. What's your name? Nobody's disputing your agenda. You don't have to keep on. Don't, you know what? Nobody, I know what God created. How about that? How about we all know that God made man and woman? There was not 4, 5 different genders. He made man and woman. These are facts, right? That's been a fact for thousands of years until now. Until now. Now we came up with a new word. Since the beginning of time, since the world existed. How about that? Since the world existed, it's been man and woman. Period. We've had homosexualities, we've had gays, but we didn't have trans. Since the world existed, it's been man and woman. Period. If somebody was gay, oh, they were gay. That was throughout time. But it wasn't transgender. Okay? So you can keep talking about some scientific fact. I'm talking about since this world was created. Period. It's been man and woman. How do you think we have populations? Man and woman coming together. That's the only way you can reproduce. Man and woman. That's the only way. If we just had trans, there would be no people on this earth because we can't reproduce ourselves with the same gender. And those are facts. So you could talk about whatever you want to or whatever, talk about some top scientific or whatever. I'm talking about since the beginning of time, it's been man and woman. Thousands of years, centuries, thousands of years, it's been man and woman.
See, that's because people have been brainwashed from the influence of
No,
society.
it's never been some you could change your sex. This is all new.
That's current
This is
society.
current society stuff. This has never been going on. Never. And we've always had homosexuality through time because we had Sodom and Gomorrah. That's always been around. But we never had people that actually want their bodies mutilated. And you have there's no Frankenstein doctor. They can't change what your gender is.
Jay Bird, you're just making up things and twisting the Bible to your liking. And you too, punk, you could read the Bible because actually read it because God says in the Bible he wants us to be fruitful and multiply. You can't do that being gay.
God looks at it as an abomination. He said he hates it because that's not what he intended. The devil intended it because he doesn't want God's family. The devil always tried to imitate God. That's the devil's family. He wants all those immoralities. All that stuff is immoral. It's immoral. It's sin. It's immoral. And you know it, it's immoral. You can't justify a wrong. God is holy. You think that God is holy and God is going to go along with something he calls abomination? He's not.
No, you are twisting the Bible because you're trying to make it seem like God is okay with people being gay. And that's twisting the word of God.
He made man and woman, period. But then man got possessed and demonic and freakish and got that lust spirit. It's beautiful. Like what man made woman, he made women soft. He gave women curves and bodies and boobs. He gave women body parts that men, so they can be pleasured. That's what he did with woman. He didn't do that to men, some roughneck other dude, and the only hole is your behind. That's lust. That's not God. God, you know what God did? That's why he wiped out Sodom and Gomorrah. Read the Bible. Those people didn't want to have sex when they wanted to have sex with each other, with men. That's the truth. But you don't have to believe it. Because God said that every knee shall bow and you need to confess with your heart that Jesus Christ is Lord in order for you to be saved. You will find out at the end of time. When Jesus comes back, if you didn't give your life to your Lord and Savior, and you're going to find out when you stand before God. We're all going to stand before God and give an account of our lives. You will, I promise. You don't believe anything else? Believe this, you will stand before God. And you go to that holy God, and you're going to tell God, your creator, I think you should let us be with men, or I think you should let us be with women. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's God is holy. We can't even look at God and live. He's not going to go along. He can't go along with sin. That's the devil. That's sinful. And that's not the only sins. Committing adultery, fornication, all those are sins. So I'm not going to justify adultery, and I'm not going to justify that. We all have sinned. That's why we need the blood of Jesus. We all have sinned. None of us are exempt. But when you don't repent and you won't even recognize your ways, that's when help you. That help you. He said, not by might nor by power, but by his spirit. Ask God to help you with this. Say, God, I don't know why I feel like this, so I have these urges, or what's going on, God, but I'm not happy. I'm not even happy with this lifestyle. I still have depression, God. Help me with the depression.
And I feel sorry for the people who get those operations on themselves.
It's the operations that I'm really talking about.
Then regret it afterwards. Then wish they can go back, but they can never go back. Yeah, I feel sorry for. It's frozen now. Yeah, I feel sorry for people like that. But that's the influence from modern society, thanks to Obama, and then Joe Biden pushed that also. And that's another reason we're so grateful that Trump is president, that God allowed him to continue to be alive, and he's the president of the United States.
My
Because
thing is, yeah.
we were going downhill.
Just live your life. Live your life to the best you can. Yeah, it did go down, I think.
Yeah, it's good now. The internet went out. We fixed it, guys. It went down for a second. Yeah, but we had to just fix it. It's
Yeah.
back up now.
I'm curious as why people keep asking God to change his plans for them. Yeah. Why? You know, the best thing, live your life the best you can. Be happy. Live your life. But when people are saying things out of love, nobody's trying to say anything to hurt you or to offend you. It's being said to you out of love. There's something going on.
Joshua said, live your good life as long as you're not trans.
Live your life. If you want to be trans, Joshua, be trans. Because if you want to go down that road, God don't make us follow him. He allow us to make our own choices, and you can make your own choice for your destiny. Because you have a destiny, and you can destine yourself to hell. Because you need the blood of Jesus for forgiveness of your sins, and ask God to help you. We all have to add. We're not perfect. We're not perfect by no means.
Oh, God definitely approves of what we're doing because we're trying to help lead people to him.
See, people want you to agree with stuff that you know go against the word of God, go against your morals. Like y'all have morals, so do other people. You can't expect everyone to go along with you, but you can go to other content creators, you can go to other listeners. It's thousands of people out here with agendas or go along to get along. You can go to them. But anything we say, we're saying out of love. We're not saying because pastors should be telling you the truth because your salvation is at stake. It's more than that physical lust or whatever it is not worth giving your life.
So S. Harris, this isn't Joel
Osteen. To the enemy.
S. Harris, this isn't Joel Osteen. We're not going to preach the gospel but say things just to make people feel good and happy. We're going to tell them the honest to God truth. If you don't like it, then you could just find another stream. But we're not going to say things to make just people feel happy. It's about like you have your own decisions. God does not make us follow him. He gives us our own free will. So if you want to have sex with the same gender and you think that there's nothing wrong with that, by all means. But if you want to go to heaven and you want to give your life to Christ, the blood is there for you. And God said there's a narrow path to get to heaven. The road is broad that people are going to go to hell because people aren't taking the opportunity that Jesus gave his life for us. That God said, for I so loved the world, that he gave for God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That's what the blood did for all of us. So we're talking more about salvation. This is a salvation issue. You can keep doing whatever you're doing right to hell. Because hell is real. The lake of fire is real. This life we have here is a vapor. But we're talking about trillions of years of torment, and there's no relief. You're in darkness. There's no water. There's nothing but gnashing of the teeth and nothing but pain and sorrow. It like Hollywood might try to paint it like, oh, like that's supposed to be great, and it's not. Read Revelations to what's going to happen to people in hell. It's real. You'll never see your loved ones again. Never talk to anyone.
You never see them again. Never talk. You have a thirst, no water. You never be able to have it, but you're going to be tormented.
Demons will be there.
Demons going to be ripping your flesh off, and you can't even die. You can't even die. God doesn't want anyone to suffer. And that's what the blood of Jesus is for. And I think that's more important than freaking sexuality. That's more important. Your salvation is more important than anything else. Anything else. But that's your choice. You have choices. You don't believe in God. You don't believe in hell. You don't believe in heaven. You don't believe it's demons. You don't believe angels. That's your right. That's your right. And nobody's going to fight you on your right, because everything's available for you. You can read a Bible. You can listen to pastors. You can find out the truth. And that's your right. If that lust means more to you, and it's not a happy life being like that, because it's abnormal. Nothing abnormal is going to make you feel good. You know it's abnormal.
And then what they do is adopt children and then lead the children to that lifestyle.
You know,
people in this stream going up to bat for it, so must got a lot of them in this stream.
You know, it's just sad. But they want to push for the NDO. He has people working for that agenda.
Yeah.
And he, like, that's your life. Take it, enjoy it, and run with it. But don't put that on the kids. Don't put, you know, like I said, since the beginning of time, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, it's been man and woman. That's a fact. We ain't had nobody, wasn't no trans. This is the new age. Wasn't all this. Now the doctors, now we got doctors. They want to mutilate. They can't change your gender. They can't. They will never be able to, but they can take your money. And they can give you problems for the rest of your life. And they can mutilate you and put you on 20 different medications because of it. And you still, then you're mentally washed out. Mentally washed out. Now you got pain.
Then you have to start taking depression medicine.
Uh-huh.
And they gotta start taking anxiety medicine, depression medicine. Yeah. It's a life of torment.
You know, it's just sad. But this world is so, like, we're living in the end times.
That guy trying to twist the Bible to fit his
In end times, he could try to do that. People, they take bits,
Yeah.
take a piece. Okay, this, but you know, read all the Bible. Read the scriptures before and after. What period of time was that? What were they talking about? You know?
What's the context?
First of all, 2 men are not supposed to be married, or 2 women. You know that. They can't reproduce. You know it's abnormal. You got a whole woman. Why you want to be with me? You got a whole man. Why are you trying to be? You know, I mean, you could be in your lust. That's your right. But don't try to convince us that it's okay when you don't want to accept what you are, but you want us to accept what you are not. That, it doesn't make any sense. But you know, just seek God, whatever you are, whatever your beliefs are, keep believing them. We're just telling you the truth about all that. It's your salvation that we're talking about. If you don't care about your salvation, you don't care about God, you don't care about Jesus, you think that that's what God ordained, God who's holy, that's what God ordained? Really?
You want your kids
God is a man that he cannot lie.
You want your kids to be of that lifestyle? Never have children, biological children?
No. You know, that's what they do when they have nothing substantial in you, this, you that. You can believe or not believe. That's your choice. You don't have to believe. You're not going to change the word of God. You're not going to make it to what you want to believe. But sin is sin. You can't justify sin. You want to justify sin. It's not okay. You could be in all the sin you want to be in. That's your choice. But you can't convince other people to go along with the okie doke. Be who you are. That's no problem. Love yourself. If that's what you believe in, that's what you want, that's your right. That's what we're saying. That's your right. But you're not going to convince us. That's it. That's our right.
Yeah, going to heaven or going to hell is your right.
That's your right.
Yeah.
That's your right. If that's going to make you happy, then do what makes you happy. But don't try to convince us that we're supposed to go along with it. Because we're not. But that doesn't take away your right to be what you want to be. God gave you that right. That's a God-given right.
to the people in the chat that are going like tooth and nail to support that agenda.
Yeah, they have a right
you're
to go to
you're
heaven or hell.
you're
That's
not
what we're
gonna-
saying.
You're not going to change our minds to the people that are relentlessly commenting about it. You're not going to change our minds and our perception on how we feel about it and think about it.
Okay, you're just saying the same thing at this point. It's just, you're not saying anything. When people can't say anything to substantiate whatever, we're not getting in an argument or disagreement or all that. We're just stating facts.
Yeah, you're not going to change our
You
mind.
don't have to go along with it, like we don't have to go along with you. Or the people in the chat, y'all talking to each other. That's a discussion that's been going on for the last few years since this came in fruition. How long have this transgender stuff been around? For 10 years?
Yeah,
About 10 years. 10 years. We talking about since the beginning of time.
Yeah, since Obama.
Since about let's give it 20 years. For the last 20 years. And now we all supposed to jump on that bandwagon. No. But you can jump on it. That's all we're saying. But anyway, you guys, I don't know how we got here. But we're gonna get ready to jump off. Yeah, since the dawn of time. But Democrats, they get back in power, they want you to have abortions, they want you to be trans, they want you to be homosexuals, they want all the wokeness, they want men and women's sports, they for all of it.
Want men and women's bathrooms.
Men and women bathrooms, men, same sex,
Locker rooms.
that's their agenda. That's what the Democratic Party has become.
Illegal immigrants.
Yeah, so that's not the party of American people, party of the working Americans. It's not the party of our military. It's not, the party is change. It's all about your sexuality now. It's all about, not about lowering, it's not about lowering inflation, anything like that, so. Well, you don't, Mr. I am dates my just report. I'm gonna report you for harassment. See, that reporting goes both ways.
It's
And
up top.
when you have people
It's up top.
here,
No.
when you have people on here that want to harass and bully us for having our own opinion, we allow people on here to have their own opinion.
They choose one. They choose one.
Oh.
Harass me.
We allow people on here. We open up the channel that people can have their own opinion. But this is America. You have freedom of speech. See, you want to take away our right to speak our truth. That's not going to happen. You want to control what we say. Control your life. Control yourself. If you don't like what's on this channel, you can go somewhere else.
watch CNN,
And anytime we don't go along with the woke agenda, then they try to gaslight like it's hate speech. Be what you want to be. We love. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. Some of the nicest people are people that are homosexual. They are kind, nice. We got people in our family like that. That's what we're not saying that. What we're saying is talking about your salvation, that there's a heaven and hell, that you have a destination after this vapor life that we have right here on earth.
We don't have people in our family like that, by the way.
Well, yeah, my cousin's son and stuff is,
That's not.
but I'm just saying. But everybody has someone like that. That don't mean that they're mean people. But you got people now, especially like the woke community, you're supposed to they want you to go by pronouns, this, that. If you don't go along, it's like they want to take away your right of your freedom of speech. If you don't say what they want you to hear. If you don't like being told the truth, then don't come back. This is not the channel for you. Because we're not going to go along with being controlled to say what you want to hear. You're not the only ones on here. There are people that are in disagreement with you as well. They like, oh yeah, I mean, you know. They don't like it. You can't stop everybody.
He's been going tooth and
Yeah, we allowed them to be on here to be able to, say what you want to say. But then when you start threatening us and threatening our channel, threatening our voice, then that's when you're no longer welcome on this channel. If you can't handle the communicating, then you don't need to be on here because you're too sensitive.
Yeah, and emotional.
You're too emotional. You can't be on here.
They're vulnerable.
Read this.
Trap the thunder. Appreciate the donation. He said, or she said, they said people vote Democrat up and down, then complain for the policy they voted for. Inflation harms poor families in the worst way.
Yeah.
When did you learn Democrats harm?
Recently, sad to say, I recently learned, like, just this last election I've not been for Republican, like the Republican Party. Trump is different. Trump is different. He's a different breed because he can't be bought. Hopefully, following him, that they will follow the footsteps. But just recently, because I was bought in to the Democratic agenda until I started opening up my eyes, and when they started getting further and further away from their Christian values, further and further away from the agendas that they claim that they were for, that they've been in power for 12 of the last 16 years. They didn't do anything for black people. They claimed they was going to do an anti-hate crime bill. I campaigned hard for Biden and Harris to get elected. I mean, I was boots on the ground, canvassing. I'm a leader. I had rooms full of people making phone calls around the country, all of that, but I had no idea how much they were against what I believe in, especially black people. They have done nothing for us but keep us suppressed.
Zach, Trump has been president for just 5 months.
5 months.
He said egg prices, inflation, gas, all up. Is that still Biden? Trump has been president for 5 months, dude.
Because you get elected in the office, that don't mean the problems of Bidenomics are going to go away. Everything takes time. And it's hard once food prices and stuff are going up to bring them down, but they have been going down. Inflation is going down. He's done a miraculous job that y'all got to look at. Maybe we'll get a list of all of he got 10 trillion worth of deals coming into this country, and the next presidents have done that. How many presidents he had to come in with 2 wars that was under Bidenomics, and they didn't even communicate with Russia and Ukraine. Do you have a problem with that? Do you have a problem that the war in Gaza was going on? They did nothing. It's like this one-sided freaking party system that you required Trump to solve world problems. The whole world is looking for this man to do everything. But nobody even expected Biden to he would never take questions like Trump just did to all reporters from everywhere and all who are against him. They don't do that.
I got the list right here. Want me to read it?
Yeah, read it.
Loudly. Saudi Arabia has pledged up to $600 billion over 4 years, and it has potential to reach $1 trillion because of Trump. The United Arab has pledged an astonishing $1.4 billion over 10 years in AI and energy and manufacturing because of Trump. Taiwan Semiconductor announced an additional $100 billion in total $165 billion U.S. investment because of Trump. NVIDIA has pledged over $500 billion over 4 years because of Trump. Apple has pledged $500 billion commitment to the U.S. manufacturing because of Trump. And Project Stargate is an AI infrastructure, has pledged over $500 billion into the U.S. because of Trump.
And he's been in office for 5 months. What other president has done what he's done in 5 months? In 5 months.
Yeah, another good thing, a lot of companies are bringing their
and that's not even, we didn't even talk about the tariffs and more business coming here,
coming
so
to the
they're
United
not
States.
going to be charged tariffs. Trump is looking like 10 trillion. He's the only one working on lowering the debts that we have now. Biden spent 1.2 trillion after losing is hurting us today. Yeah, it is. And they don't understand. Them open borders is going to hurt us probably for the next 10 years or longer, what was allowed to come into the country. We have no control of now who's here and who wasn't here. And you have the Democrats out there and non-citizens fighting against our law enforcement for us to keep the peace. Because you never have a civil society without law and order. So we can't let people come into our country who aren't even citizens taking over our cities, stopping our law enforcement from trying to lock up criminals. The insanity is on another level. It's crazy. And Americans, we're watching.
They said through Trump's tariffs, we have gotten approximately $94 billion.
And they still looking for wasteful spending and all this other stuff. This is in 5 months. So by the time 4 years, there's going to be a lot of cleanup done. Whoever gets the next administration, they're not going to be handed what he was handed. He was handed world problems.
Yeah.
And everybody, these reporters like, oh, what you going to do about Ukraine? Now, he just did this with Iran and Israel, who's going at it.
Yeah.
We don't have time for you because we don't have time for you. We don't have time for you because you want to push your own agenda. Start your own channel. We have over 5,000 people that be in our chats. You are not the only one. Okay? We're not in agreement with you. Let's just start there. It's nothing you said that's an agreement. Okay? And any lies that are being told are coming from you. And that's it. Nobody has time. You're not going to hijack the channel when you have no substance. Talking about why they being blocked, and they still they keep on they just want to keep on and keep on because they don't want to hear what we have to say. Then don't come back. And we spend too much time on here because I'm hungry and I haven't even eaten yet today. Yeah, Trump could cure cancer and AIDS, and people would still give him zero credit. And that's what's going on. Especially the lousy media. I didn't even realize there was a such thing as fake news.
Zach Scott, I see you're being sarcastic, but from our channel alone, there's a video that's posted here with over, 1.5 million views.
Yeah.
But our channel has in total over 10 million views. We just started the channel not too long ago too. So, I see you're being sarcastic about us having 5K viewers.
We didn't say 5K viewers. We said over 5,500 people in the chat speaking. That's what we're saying. Our videos get 1.2 million views per month the last 28 days. We're not saying that. Nobody's saying that.
Now Zach saying 10 million viewers and not a single thing of substance.
Then why are you here? If there's no substance here, leave. Because why are you here? I want this channel is a platform. That's why I tell my moderators, whatever, don't just ban everyone. Allow people to communicate in the chat. Let y'all talk to each other. That's what this is for. Yeah, Dems love inflation, harms poor farm families big time. Yeah, harm poor families big time. That's what they like. They want to fight you, and they want to allow all this high inflation. They want to look at how the economy. They the ones with the wars and everything. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. It's just this is a lot. But it's just crazy how delusional they are while they do nothing. Just give us some answers. Like this channel, I want to be clear. This channel, we allow people to be on it, and we want people to communicate because you want to have conversation. You don't have to agree You can agree to disagree, but be respectful.
It's-
Because the only way you're going to be heard is if you can speak in a clear, concise manner, make your point. But you don't have to argue with the host. You don't have to argue with us or, oh, well, they lies. Are we saying you calling you liars?
Yeah.
Like the things you guys say, we don't believe it, but we're not calling you lies. And like, we're not the media. We're not reporters. We're not politicians. We're everyday Americans. That's it. And we have freedom of speech.
And two different things. Cindy Lou said, which is a great point. She said she is saying what the majority believe and support.
Yeah, the majority of the people that come to the channel, it's just like, I guess like in anything, like it's always like the one person when the majority are in agreement.
Yeah.
The majority of people on here are in agreement. The ones that disagree are the ones that want to do the most harm. Those are the ones that want you to change your whole opinion. We're not trying to change your opinion. We're trying to allow you to voice your opinion. That's it.
To the Democrats in the chat, see, we have a lot of Democrats. What do you feel about the Taliban having our equipment? What do you think about that and them showing it off and bragging that they have our equipment? How do you feel about Afghanistan and how Biden was with Afghanistan? What do you think about that? You think that's being a good president? You know, Taliban showing off all our equipment, a terroristic organization.
No, Biden surrendered to the Taliban. Biden was
What?
the one that did that horrific. We're the greatest power in the world. And our commander in chief, because he was unfit and the whole administration was unfit. There was a sorry ass administration. They did that horrible withdrawal out of Afghanistan, which caused the lives of 13 of our American young men and women, our soldiers, to lose their lives, over 50 of them mutilated, and they left hundreds of billions of dollars of our equipment was left in that country. That's what Biden administration did. They did that. Trump came in and we just dropped 3 ballistic bombs in Iran just to prevent them, not on the people, to prevent them from nuclear capabilities. That's the difference. Not one American lost their life with that mission. Not one. So that was a success by many means when you compare it to what Biden did. And Obama dropped 26,000 bombs on people.
Zach, we were born and raised in America, dude.
Anyway, we gotta get off. This is becoming nonsense at this point.
Yeah.
So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. People, truth seekers, thank you for joining us. We love you, Democrats. We love everybody on here. We don't care your sexuality, but we're not gonna go along with the okie doke. Y'all could be whatever you want to be. That's your God-given right. It's your God-given right. Period. But we love the people that have common sense. That look, if I'm a Democrat and I can call out the freaking Democrats, why can't the Democrats on here do that? Yeah. Y'all see what's going on. They're not doing anything for this country. How much better would this country be if the Republicans and the Democrats actually work together on our behalf like they're supposed to? They're supposed to put their differences aside, come together, work together for our benefit, not their own.
The only Democrat I like is John Fetterman.
Yeah, do that for us.
He finds the middle ground.
Come up with a plan. What's your plan for housing? What's your plan about the inflation? What's your plan about healthcare? Give us some solutions. Because Trump is doing his job. He's doing his job. 24/7, he's doing his job. He's doing his job beyond what all the last presidents put together. He's done more than all of them.
Yeah, Zach, you're just a troll. You're not a funny one, too. Like,
So-
I used to be funny.
So anyway, we're going to get off of here. God bless all of you. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. We've been on here way too long.
Yeah, we gotta eat.
God is good. God bless you. And stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself. And just remember, let people be what they want to be. Just like you're allowed to be whatever you want to be, let people be what they want to be. Okay? You have that right. That's your right.
Now someone said we're getting off or never mind. They were calling us out saying we're scared. That's why we're getting off.
We hungry and we tired and we should have been off. The other program been ended. So anyway, God bless you. Have a good day.
Go.
It's early. Go have fun. Go watch
CNN. Go.
Go to the movies. Enjoy your family. Have a picnic. Go to the beach. It's summertime, for God's sakes. Enjoy your life. God is
You
good.
don't want us to leave. Look, someone else.
Beloved, above all, I wish that thou may prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prosper.